noise for Heather Apostolidis. There we go. Give it up for Heather Apostolidis.
Hey guys, I don't have big balls, but I have really big ovaries. So I quit my job today. No, I just really like saying it. I work at an accounting firm in marketing. Hold your applause. I work mostly with men over the age of 60. There's one guy who's like 110 years old, I swear to God. And he always calls me into his office. Never emails me, calls me, like I'm the Pony Express. Then I go trotting into his office, and he wants me to help him with his LinkedIn profile. Do you guys have LinkedIn profiles? So he can't remember the year he graduated, so now I try to help him, and I say, you know, who was the president at the time, you know? Was it Eisenhower? Lincoln? And he looked at me, and he said, Heather, he's like, 1, don't think for me, bastard. 2, he said, it was in 73. And I said, BC or AD? But what I really wanted to say is, you're 90, just die already. And he did. He died the next day. He really did. And he might be listening. Anyway, so it was just really crazy, actually, because on LinkedIn, he was also celebrating his 40-year work anniversary. I know that because we updated that together. And I was just like, oh my God, one guy actually said, you know, it's been so long, we should get together for lunch. So I wrote back as him, and I said, that sounds wonderful. Why don't you come by my house next week? We're gonna have catered food there. And you know, my dad said to me, he's like, Heather, you're gonna get yourself fired. And I was like, oh, that might be really nice. He's old school Greek. His name is Hercules. It's true, it's Hercules. Thank God I'm not Athena. But I said to my dad, I'm like, Dad, you know, there's so many Greek stereotypes, and the Greeks think they invented everything. My dad, you know, he walks around and, you know, the Greeks, they invented democracy. They invented philosophy, Dad, yes. And they also, he tells me, invented this, the fist bump. My dad invented that. And I said, Dad, I could Wikipedia this right now and we could call it a day. And he said, oh, Wikipedios. Like he invented that too. And I said, Dad, I was like, where did this come from? He said, back in the 70s, all the brothers were doing all of these handshakes. And he couldn't keep up with it, so he put his fist out, and the brother put his fist out, and he said it was like magic. And I was like, wow, I thought like Zeus's like electric bolt hit my dad's hand or something. And you know, I said, but Dad, like, he said the next day all the brothers were doing it. I said, okay, Dad. He go, but why now? You know, my dad's retired, he lives in Florida, he watches a lot of TV. He said, you know, I was watching the Ellen show, and I liked that Ellen. She came out. He's like, I swept that under the carpet for so long, I want everyone to know that I invented this. And I was just like, oh my God. So he now has me writing a letter to Ellen. So I'm writing this letter and I'm reading it back to him. And he can hear like the skepticism, you know? And he said, Heather, stop. And I said, what? He said, if my own daughter doesn't believe me, how is the rest of the world going to believe me? And then I told my dad, I said, listen, it doesn't matter. It's what your family believes. And we're going to tell generation after generation. And he bought that. So anyway, so my friends are here tonight. All right. They're embarrassing me. I have this one girlfriend of mine. Her name's Stacy. We went to the Museum of Sex over the weekend. Has anyone ever been to the Museum of Sex? What do you think of it? Like, boring? It's like sex sometimes. You know? So we ended up going to a bar next door. We thought it was a bar, but it was a sex club. And I should have known because the name of the place, like I thought it was French, but it was just called Lay. And the guy paid for the two of us to go in there with him, and we were excited because that never happens, and he was too excited that we were excited. And then we're in this place, and we made a pact. It wasn't a sex pact, it was a friendship pact. And we said, you know what, we're gonna absorb as much as we can except for the semen, and we are going to go up and not do anything. And the guy, we went to the first floor. It was just really boring, kind of like the Museum of Sex, just a lot of dry humping. We go up to the second floor, and there are these people, they're taking their clothes off, and they're handing out towels. So now she's sweating, like she has one really like sweaty armpit. You know, like one is sweatier than the other? So she takes the towel, and she's got it like under her pit, and then I'm like, oh God. So I think to myself, wait a minute, the Greeks actually invented sex separated from love. I know this because it was what I was taught. So I'm only half Greek though, that means I can only tolerate one finger up my butt. So now we're going up, and I have the towel. So we take our clothes off. She's in, I don't even know what's going on at this point. She's got it on like eyes wide shut, like a mask, and I sort of like have it like a swan from Royal Caribbean Cruise, the bed pillows. And I'm clutching at it like a fucking teddy bear. And we're headed up to the third floor. And it's like this big room, just like this room. Sir, you look very familiar. And there are people, and they're just having sex everywhere. And when you see that much sex like that, it's very mechanical. It's kind of like a cafeteria where like just people are eating each other out. And then my girlfriend now freaks out. She's in one corner, like hiding. And I see this guy, and he's like fisting another guy. And I'm so grossed out, but like kind of curious, So I like go over to the guy, and I tap him on the shoulder, and I said, my dad invented that.